Well, Adam, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the call today. And I chose you as someone I wanted to interview for a testimonial because you kind of had a unique path to becoming a client. And, I think it's really cool. And I think a lot of our potential customers would take the same path as you, or at least have the same hesitations that you did. So I wanted to share your testimony with them. So maybe it gives them some peace of mind and feel like, hey, maybe I should give this a shot, or at least just, show up for a free consultation. A lot of folks don't realize that we offer a free 45-minute consultation. So to get started, how did you first hear about us?
I first heard about you guys actually through just doing a lot of YouTube research on the concept of paying your mortgage off sooner than usual. Mm-hmm. So it was through just looking at other videos. One of the videos that I first saw was using a credit card to chunk down a mortgage. So, mm-hmm. When you get on YouTube, you see the main video and then you see all the related videos. So I just kind of got into like a wormhole from that point and discovered, using a HELOC, and then basically came across all your videos. That's kind of how I started with you guys.
Well, what started that journey of you looking to get on YouTube and look for those concepts?
Yeah, it was actually the boss that I work for brought it up to me because he had just bought a duplex and he was living on one side and he was having a renter pay rent on the other side, and he actually came across the video. So he was telling me about that because I had just bought a house last year, my second house. So I just started a 30-year mortgage, which was not something that I was very excited about, but mm-hmm. So that's kind of how it all started, really.
Yeah, people are excited about getting homes, but they never are excited about getting the mortgage.
Not at all, man. And that's the thing. This is our second home, me and my wife, and mm-hmm. our first home, I had refinanced into a 15-year mortgage about 5 years ago. So mm-hmm. I was really excited to see, we were paying down the principal pretty quick, and then we were running out of room because we have 4 kids. So it was a good time to sell. So we decided it was a good time to do it. But the whole thought of going into that 30-year mortgage again was not very exciting to me.
Gotcha. Now, when you first came across us or just the topic in general, what was your initial thoughts?
There's always like a little skepticism involved, especially when you're just watching videos on the internet. So there's no actual human interaction. So, but over time, you just kind of get more familiar with the product or at least the thought process. You just start thinking on it, and then you do more research and you look to different avenues. And when things start to line up, then you feel more comfortable when you're seeing these videos.
Right. Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about your journey to become a client, because yours is unique. When you first approached us, I think, did you already have a HELOC in place when you approached us?
Yes, so I had a second lien HELOC through my credit union. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. I think I remember our conversations because you had done a consultation, I think with Edmund, one of our consultants, and then we had a follow-up consultation with me. And I remember vaguely at that time that you weren't ready to become a client and you just wanted a couple little secrets to get over a hurdle. So can you kind of address that and then kind of what prompted you to say, you know what, I think this is worth giving a shot?
Yeah, so I did just about all the research you could possibly do on the internet looking up first lien HELOCs. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I had a pretty good grasp on it, and I got to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to at least do the free discovery call. And my initial motivation for that was literally to kind of just get as much information out of the guy who I was doing the call with as I could to not become a client and do it on my own. That was my main motivation.
Right.
And I even sent you a personal message too, trying to pick your brain, I was very determined to do it on my own,
right?
Which that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's a good quality to have. Yep. But I just felt like, after I did the call and I talked to Edmund, and he seemed just like a down-to-earth guy, normal guy like me, it just made sense to become a client, just because I'd have access to a wealth of other information and a large group of people that are all doing the same thing. So it just seemed to make sense. Since I was going to do it, it wasn't a matter of me not doing it. I was going to do it. It's just, I figured if I'm going to pull the trigger and do this, I might as well do it right.
Yeah. Yeah. And no, I don't blame you at all for trying to do it. And a lot of people, start off like that, where they're like, well, if I can do it the cheapest way possible, which I totally respect. The way I look at it is, let's say I'm selling guns and, I don't want to hand a gun to a 13-year-old who doesn't know how to properly hold a gun, shoot a gun, doesn't know which way the bullet comes out. It's something that could get you in some serious trouble. So, when people come to me and ask me for a couple little secrets so they can go do it on their own, I typically don't acquiesce to that because I don't want to be liable that if they go out and get a HELOC and they didn't get the full education, then yourself in trouble. And now who are they going to blame? That's just human society. They typically want to point the finger at somebody and not take ownership of it. And I don't want to be the blame of someone losing their house. And that this is something that is very strategic, and you got to do it right. And if you do it wrong, you can get yourself in a world of hurt. All right. So in your honest opinion, now that you've become a client, seen the material, and you started your journey, what is your honest opinion of our education?
It's great, man. I mean, it's real easy to understand. It's easy to follow a lot of the stuff going into it. Mm-hmm. So it made it a little bit easier. And I'd be willing to bet I probably got a good grasp on it sooner than most people. But it's very simple to understand. The videos aren't super long. And just the access that you get to just other things above and beyond this too is just, it's one of the best investments I've made in my life, for sure.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that compliment. And a lot of people don't realize that we're not just a HELOC course. I mean, yes, we don't market anything other than what our core subject is, which is teaching how to properly utilize the first lien position HELOC. But we dive deeper than that. A lot of people don't realize that when they become a client. We get into real estate investing, commercial real estate investing, and one of my the new favorites is infinite banking concepts, because it really takes us to a whole different level. But what you're telling me is that the education, you learn some things that you now are super glad that you learned, that had you done it on your own, you wouldn't have been able to learn, or didn't have it in a timely fashion and weren't able to implement that progressed, your results.
Yeah. I mean, even after I became a client, I still wanted to use my own credit union to get this done. And I got all the way to the closing table, thinking that everything was figured out, and there was a lot of miscommunication and numbers were off, and I ended up backing out. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to go through and use the bank list and do it the right way. And it took a couple months, but I finally closed it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and everything's good to go now, man. And I've also opened up a infinite banking concept policy, which we won't get into that because that's pretty deep stuff, but I've started that too as well.
Well, I mean, the best time to start that was 20 years ago, and the second best time to start it is today. So I congratulate you for taking some action there. So you just got your HELOC, so you haven't had time to see any results yet.
No. So I get paid bi-weekly, so I've put in 2 paychecks essentially into the HELOC. So I've seen the balance drop already. So it's pretty instantaneous, but
more so
to see real
mortgage.
What was that?
More so than what you would have seen with a mortgage?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right off the bat, you're putting money towards principal first instead of, with a mortgage, you're putting the majority of the money, especially on the front end of a 30-year mortgage, is all interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're maintaining liquidity. So that kind of gives you some confidence to put your checks into the HELOC, because it is simple interest, open-end line of credit. So should you need that, it's available to you. But until you need it, it's actually working for you even when you sleep, as opposed to, having to wake up every morning and work for $1 to chunk towards a mortgage.
Yeah.
Austin, have you done any projections of looking into the future of what your goals are and what you think you're going to be able to accomplish with this?
Yeah, my wife and I have done a lot of, I'm a numbers guy, so I like to plan things out and look at projections. And I don't know if you want to know the value of my house, what we owe on it, and how quickly it could get paid off. But if didn't leverage any of the equity in my house, which I plan on doing for other investments,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just simply paying down the balance, my home value is at $460,000, and we're going into it. We owe just over 300, and it would be paid off in roughly 6 to 8 years, depending on fluctuation and income and all that stuff. So,
Right.
and we just bought the house.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's also 6 to 8 years if your income doesn't go up, if your expenses don't go
Right.
down, and if interest rates don't go up, or I'm sorry, if they don't go down or stay the same, because we actually project that interest rates are going up, although we don't believe that that's going to happen, but we do it for a conservative approach. So you're looking at 6 to 8 years prior to, hopefully you're going to end up making more money. More money means more cash flow. You can attack principal and reduce interest and attack that time. And maybe you get a little bit wiser with your budget and reduce expenses. And like you said, re-leverage to, and a lot of people don't realize that we maintain liquidity. Although we're paying this down, we maintain liquidity. So when opportunities arise, we can leverage that HELOC to capitalize on those opportunities to produce more cash flow. And you and I both know that more cash flow means you speed up the process.
Yep, it's all about cash flow, man, which is something that I've learned, just recently through all this too. So I mean, just by having my mortgage paid off, I've increased cash flow alone just from that. My mortgage payment's gone, and what I owe on my HELOC is like $1,000 less than what my mortgage was.
Right.
So there's some cash flow right there, right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. And now you get to control that amortization as opposed to the bank controlling that amortization.
Yeah, I'm in control, and that's the best part about it. The bank's not in control of my money. I'm in control of my money. I can control how much I put towards principal, how much I put towards interest. It's all up to me. And that's one of the best things about it.
Right. Well, Adam, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to give us your opinion, your honest opinion. Were you paid to do this, by the way?
No,
okay.
Not at all.
Just want to get that out. we get that too.
Right.
Oh, your calculators are scams, or no, you got paid actors. No, Adam wasn't paid to do this. He's just a friendly client willing to help out. So I greatly appreciate that. Thanks, Adam.
Yep, no problem, man.